Good morning, students. We have given 10 programs for making videos for you. So in this video lecture I will give a brief overview on those 10 programs. So in that the first one is Java program to demonstrate arithmetic exception. So this is a program that demonstrates arithmetic exception. So in this program I imported util package for using the scanner class. Then main method definition. Within that main method definition, scanner object is created. Then ask the user to enter a value. Then that entered value is taken into the program with sn dot nextInt, and that value is stored into the variable a, that is of type integer. So like that, second value is also read into the program. Then coming to here, double c equal to a by b, then int d equal to a plus b. These are the two calculations we go to perform. In these two calculations, sometimes the statement c equal to a by b may raises the exception called arithmetic exception. The exception called arithmetic exception. That means, suppose if I give the values 10 for a and 5 for b, then 10 by 5, that is 2, that is taken into c value is printed. That means the calculation is performed without any problem. After that, d equal to a plus b is performed. Suppose in some other execution, suppose if I give a value as 10, b value as 0, that means 10 by 0. 10 by 0 is not yet defined. That's why computer is also unable to find the value of 10 by 0. At that time, that raises the exception called arithmetic exception. So that's why c equal to a by b statement may raises the exception. That's why place that c equal to a by b statement within the try block. Then to prevent the program from abnormal termination, we need to handle that exception by using exception handler, that is nothing but catch block. So within the catch block, the exception is handled. After that, we go to do these calculations. So these statements belongs to finally block statements. These statements are executed irrespective of the exception is arised or not. So in this program, to prevent the program from abnormal termination, we provide exception handling. Then we go to demonstrate how the exception is raised. So program is successfully compiled. Then run. Suppose if I enter the value 10 for a, then 5 for b, then we get the c value 2 and d value 15, and finally high will be printed. That means in this case no exception is arised. Suppose if we run second time, we give a value as 10 and b value as 0, that is 12 by 0, division by 0. At this time arithmetic exception is raised. So if you see the message can't divide a number with 0, java.lang. arithmetic exception is raised with the reason division by 0. After that d value calculation is carried out, d value will be printed on the monitor and finally high will be printed. So this is the program that demonstrates arithmetic exception. Then the second program is demonstrating the number format exception. So this is a program I written for demonstrating the number format exception. So number format exception is nothing but converting one type of or mainly string type of values into number type. At that time there is a chance of number format exception arise. So for example, if we try to convert so actually 1 0, that means two digits are placed within the double quotation marks, then that becomes as the string. Suppose if you want to convert this string into number, we get the value 10. So here this is a string. If we convert that into integer type, we get the number like this. So for converting this type of string into this type of number, we have the refer class method called integer.parseInt. Okay, so this time no problem. Suppose if you want to convert 10 ten, the 10 is written as ten. If you want to convert this string 10 by using integer.parseInt, that means if you want to convert this 10 into number by using integer.parseInt, that is not possible. At that time that may raises the exception called number format exception. That means here the string not in number format, the number format strings are only converted into number type. So that's why this raises the exception called number format exception. So that we go to demonstrate in this program. So for this we use command line arguments concept. So whatever the arguments we passed through command line while executing the program, those arguments are taken into the string type of variable args. So in that the first argument is taken into args of 0, the second argument is taken into args of 1. Actually this args is string type. So that means whatever the value we store into these variables, those are stored into string type, but we want to or we try to convert those into integer type. If that is in number format, that is easily convertible without any exception. If those are not in number format, those may raise, there is a chance to raise number format exception. So that we will see with example execution. And then 5. So these are the two arguments I supplied to this program. The first value 10 is taken into args of 0 into string format, 5 is taken into args of 1 into string format. Those two are converted into integer type by using integer.parseInt. if these two strings are internally in number format, those are easily converted into number type or integer type, and no exception is arised. That means calculation it takes place 10 by 5 2. Suppose in another execution, if I give the 5 value like this, f5v, first value 10 as 10 and second value 5 as f5ve. Now if you try to convert this f5ve into number type, that raises the exception called number format exception. So that we go to demonstrate with this execution. Conversion not possible, that message we write here java.lang. Number format exception, that message we get with NFE object for input string 5, and finally block statements are executed irrespective of whether the exception is arised or not. So this is the program that demonstrates number format exception. Then we move to next one, that is array index out of bounds exception. So the same program, but in this program we go to demonstrate array index out of bounds exception. Array index out of bounds exception is raised when we try to access the array element by crossing the array limits. That means suppose the array contains only 5 elements. If we try to access 6th element or 7th element, at that time that raises array index out of bounds exception. Suppose the array contains only one element. If we try to access the second element, that time that raises array index out of bounds exception. Suppose the array does not contain any elements, then we try to access the array elements, that may raises array index out of bounds exception. So in this program we take the array args, we try to access two elements, args of 0, args of 1. Suppose if we supply two values, 10 for args of 0, 5 for args of 1, then we try to access those two values, then no exception is arised. Suppose if we store only one value into the variable args of 0, that means args array contains only one value, but we try to access the second value, that means args not contain the second value, but we try to access, at the time that raises the exception called array index out of bounds exception. So this we go to see with example execution. So Java array index that raises array index out of bounds exception. So here we does not provide any arguments, that means no value for args 0, then no value for args 1, but we try to access args 0 and args 1, then that raises the exception called array index out of bounds exception. Suppose in some other execution, if I give the values 10 and then 5, the first value is taken into args 0, second value is taken into args 1, then those are converted into integer type. So in this example no exception is arised. So because array contains two values and we try to access only two values. We go to see another example. Suppose in first array of for first location we supply the value 78, that means the 78 is taken into args of 0, but we try to access the value present in args of 1. So no value is present in args of 1, so that's why that raises the exception called array index out of bounds exception. So in this execution 78 is taken into args of 0, but we try to access args of 1, no value is present in args of 1, so that's why the array index out of bounds exception is arised. So then next one is creating two threads. The first thread needs to display the even numbers from 20 to 50. Then the second thread needs to display the odd numbers from 70 to 100. So for this, I go to create a user defined thread class. The user defined thread class is created in 2s by extending the thread class. Another one is implementing the runnable interface. In this program, I go to create my user defined thread, that is first by extending the thread class. Within this class, I go to override run method. In this run method, I go to display even numbers from 120 to 50. So for that, I start the for loop 20, then up to 50. Each time I value will be incremented by I equal to I plus 2. That means we need to print only even numbers. So first even number 20, after that we need to move to 22. So that's why the I value needs to increment by 2. So then printing of I value. So this is the first thread class creation for printing the even numbers from 20 to 50. Then go to create the second thread class by extending thread, then run method. This thread needs to display the odd numbers from 70 to 100. So odd numbers means we start with 71 up to 100. Each time we need to print 71, 73, 75 like that. So that's why we written the code like this. Then thread main class. Within this we write the main method. First we go to create the object for first thread as first t1 equal to new first, second t2 equal to, so like the two thread objects are created as t1 and then t2. We start t1 dot start, t2 dot start. So this is the program having two threads. The first thread needs to display the even numbers from 20 to 50. The second thread needs to display odd numbers from 70 to 100. So we go to run this one. Java thread main. So that prints the values like this. So in this example, first thread 2 starts to print its values, and second thread. In another execution, that may change. So the output may vary in different executions. In this example, first thread displays its values first, after that second thread, whereas here the second thread displays its values and then the first thread. Okay. So that is about creation of two threads for displaying even numbers and odd numbers in the range. Then thread priorities. So for threads we can set the priorities, mainly three priorities. For that we have three priority constants: normal priority, that is default priority, minimum priority, and then max priority. Max priority value 10, minimum priority 1, normal priority 5. So here I go to create the first thread for printing hello, second thread for printing hi, third thread for printing welcome. Three thread objects are created. So for threads, for T2 thread I given max priority, T1 thread I given low priority, for T3 thread normal priority. Then we start T1, T2, T3. So we see the execution. So that means the higher priority thread will execute the first. So do execution by your own. Okay. So then in next program, hello world, we need to write applet program for printing hello world 5 times in 5 different lines with different fonts and colors. We'll see this one. So this is the applet program I written. So two packages importing, then one public class by extending the applet within that paint method. So here I go to create a font object and color object. Font F1 equal to new font, font type, font style, font size. So like that font object is created. Then color object with 3 different color constants. So this is red contribution, green, and then blue. These values ranges from 0 to 255. So 0 to 255. So what here, no red content, no green content, blue contents total, max blue content. So that means with this one blue color is created. So then for setting the font, g dot set font, we need to give that font object here, then color object. That means this string is created with this font and this color. So to print the string on the offlet window, g dot draw string hello world 50, 70. So h starts with x-axis side 50 pixels forwarding or 50 pixels moving, then 70 pixels y-axis side. Suppose upper left corner, that is 0, 0, from this point x-axis side 50 pixels and y-axis side 70 pixels. From that point h printing will be started, then remaining characters will be printed. So like that first line will be printed. Similar to that, we go to print the second line with a different font, with a different color. So here font object is created with font name times Roman, then font style italic, and size. Here size is 25, here size is 40. We go to take another color, so that is 200, red content 200, 200, 170. We may give any values, or we may take 175. Here also we take 175. So another color is created, then font is setted, color is also setted. Then while printing the hello world, so here from x-axis side 50 pixel, pixel is nothing but one dot. So simply this dot indicates the pixel, simple dot. At 50, 70th position we print the first line hello world. We need to print this hello world in another line. That means we need to move downwards, so that's why increase the y coordinate, not x coordinate. So to print the hello world in the same position in different lines, we need to change only y value 70 and then 150. So after that applet tag, class name, this class name here, then applet window width, total window width, applet window width, and then height of the applet, then end of the applet. Then go to running or executing. So first we need to compile. Display 10 dot job. So like this I write the code for printing hello world in 2 lines only. You need to write the applet code for printing the same message in 5 different lines, like this. First line, second line, you need to print the third line here, fourth line here, fifth line in some down position. Okay. So this is a program that display hello world with the different fonts and different colors. Okay, next program is displaying circle inside a square. So for this I imported 2 packages, then public class by extending applet. Then paint method is, so for setting the color I use g dot set color and we go to set red color. Then no direct method for drawing the square, so but we have the method for drawing the rectangle, that is g dot draw rect. So this rectangle drawing starts with the position 100 comma 170 in coordinate system. From that find 120 pixels width, 120 pixels height, that means length and breadth are same, so that means that rectangle automatically becomes as square. Then to draw the circle no direct method, but we have a draw oval method. For this draw oval method we need to give the starting point, the same starting point, because we need to draw the circle inside a square 100 comma 170. so for this also we need to give same length and breadth, with that we get the circle 120 120. Applet viewer circle square dot java, so the circle is drawn within the square. So this is the code. We set the color red color, g dot set color color dot red, then g dot draw rect, so that means rectangle drawing. This position is upper left corner, that is 100 pixels x-axis like this, 100 pixels x-axis moving, then 170 pixels y-axis, so that's why this is the 100 comma 170. From this point 120 pixels width and 120 pixels height. So like the draw oval also 100 pixels x-axis moving and 170 pixels y-axis. From this point the oval is drawn, so with the same length and same breadth, so that's why that is inserted within the square. So this is the program that draws a circle inside a square. Okay, so that is brief overview about the 10 programs.